Okay, and now we're recording. Sorry about that, folks. Go ahead and start with
Yeah.
Sharon.
So thank you, first of all, for having me. My name is Sharon Mueller, and I'm the librarian at Leavenworth High. This is my 22nd year in Leavenworth. I taught English for 17 years and then transitioned into Avid. And then 3 of those years with Avid, I transitioned into the library. So this is my 4th year in the library. I can't really remember a time in my life that books weren't in it. And I think after, teaching English, it was a good time just to transition to the library. It was something I always loved. I admired the librarians in my district. I, have fond memories of the librarians when I was in school. And it just seemed like a pretty natural fit to make my way into the library. I even have a little library at my house there. My parents built that my little library for me, and it's registered with the little libraries and on the map. So swing by and check it out.
That's great.
Yeah.
We always like to see how librarians are kind of like the heart of their community, often outside of the job too, with those little libraries. So this is a good segue, talking about community. Let's talk about your school libraries community.
Yeah, so Leavenworth, first city in Kansas, lots of rich history. We like to tell people that Leavenworth High School is really a little microcosm of the world, and it's so incredibly true. We have such diversity in our students. Students have traveled the world with the military, and then we have students who've, not traveled outside of Kansas or Missouri, and then everywhere in between. So it's such an incredibly fun place to work. We've, pictures just here of gathering in the library. Our library is, centrally located in the building. It's kind of the heart of the building. One of the pictures here in the bottom, the students are from the art club, and they're setting up this, human made out of a saran wrap, and it's stayed all year in the display case, and they decorate it for different holidays. Any kind of niche or group or representation that you could want in a high school, we have, and we're so proud of it. Absolutely.
And just from the picture there, it looks like it's like you said, the heart for the entire community. And I think that probably staff as much as the students at times.
Yeah, we were lucky last fall. We got to host a pageant. I hope that's still the term that they use, but it was the Miss Kansas Volunteer Pageant, and the question session of the interview session of the pageant was in the library. So it was so much fun to see the girls in there. We host all of our staff luncheons, site council, district leadership. Yeah, it's kind of a multi-purpose community room for anybody.
Let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of how a school library works for some of us who are more public. It might be of interest to us just about what the hours are like. Are you open before school, after school? What's it like?
Yeah, so we are open before and after school. I'm the primary librarian at the high school, but I'm fortunate to have a full-time assistant, and she is incredible. I've been pulled out of the library a lot the last couple of years to cover in English or help in other libraries that aren't staffed. So without, my assistant, I couldn't get anything done. We also have teacher helpers every hour, and they're great. They can, do anything that I can do, really, checking out books wise and some of the managerial stuff. In the school system, at least in our district, I have a great PR director for the district, and he and I work really closely together to get messages out to the community, to stay involved. Our education technology director is one of the best resources that I have. He keeps me updated on tools that he thinks would be great to use in the library. If I have an idea, I'll run it by him. And both of those gentlemen, Mr. Potter and Mr. Perry, are great at, kind of reining me in if I want to branch out a little too far, a little too crazy. But they're also just great resources. I'm sure, as it is in the public libraries, maybe a bit more in schools, my downtown administration's a bit more involved than they may have been in libraries of the past. But they have to be, because, there are a lot of issues that go on in the library. So I've been really lucky to have a supportive technology, education, leadership team, and my two superintendents that I've worked with in the past have been really fantastic too. So, and I have a great school administration. My principal, Mr. Vanek, my assistant principals, they're all great. They're all so supportive of me, and I really couldn't do it without all of them.
Absolutely. That's great that you have such great supporters helping you in your mission.
Yeah.
Uh, so let's talk a little bit about this library proper, and at least what happens between the walls. What's the facility like there? You said it's centrally located in the school.
It is. It's the heart of the school physically and, emotionally, if you will. We have a big library. We have a great library space. When you see new high schools being built, it's always kind of sad to see how small the library is. We have a great big library. We've got tons of books. But especially coming out of the pandemic, it was really important to the administration and to me that the kids had a place that they could kind of decompress. We all know that's been so important after the pandemic. So in addition to the books, which we have, a great number of, we've got a puzzle center, and these kids will crank through and put out 3 or 4 puzzles a week. It's incredible. And even teachers walking through on their planning period or between passing periods will stop and put the puzzle together. This year we got a couple of little ping pong tables so the kids can play ping pong. The table is actually meshed, so it's quiet. Everybody wonders, oh, that would be very loud, but it's not. The big Connect 4, we've got 2 big Connect 4 boards. And again, they just love to have a place that they can come and, kind of decompress. Chess is super huge and incredibly popular with all the high school kids. I didn't include a picture, but yeah, we've got 5 or 6 chess boards, and there are chess games going on all the time. And another picture I didn't include, I wish I had, we have an electric keyboard that was gifted to the district from Melissa Etheridge, who is a Leavenworth graduate. And so
How cool.
yeah, really cool. You'll oftentimes walk through the library and there'll be a kid playing the piano, and it's electric keyboard, but so cool.
So they have their headphones on and are jamming out,
Well,
is that right?
I wish they had their headphones on. Most of the time, no, they're just playing.
Okay.
The jazz band also comes in to the library 3 or 4 times a year and does, a little set in the back, and the kids come in at lunch. So I always tell people ours is not a quiet library most of the time. And that is great because I'm not a quiet librarian. So it works out really nicely.
Yeah, me neither. Nobody's
Good,
ever
great.
said I'm a quiet librarian.
Yep. I should make that a t-shirt.
You should.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've got some great different nooks and crannies and different types of spaces at the library that people can kind of feel home away from home, which I'm sure there's certain days
Yeah.
where that can be a giant comfort to people.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
we're probably not even going to be able to scrape the surface about talking about services and programs. Besides your awesomely sized collection, what's going on with these students?
So in the top left-hand corner, we're really incredibly proud of the interaction between our students and the students in our life skills classes. These are students who have, different types of exceptionalities. So they come up a couple of times a month if we have time, and we do a story hour. They love to be included in whatever we're doing. They're booing the books for Halloween in this picture, and they had so much fun. You could just look down the aisles and there'd be ghosts sticking out of all the books. We send our book club and our library teacher helpers to read in the elementary schools, and they love to do that. The library helpers have been really involved in the elementary school libraries as well. There's never enough people, and so they get to do a lot of the things that get pushed to the side when you're trying to run a library. They shelf books and, clean and things. We have a great big trunk or treat campaign every year, and so the book club is out there. We're really involved kind of in the like as a historian role, like a lot of librarians are. Our library at the high school has every original yearbook since 1904. Yeah, And not only is it a treasure for Leavenworth, but, you know, as the first city in the state, the first high school in the state, it's really a state treasure. And with time and money, our goal is to digitize those the yearbooks for, you know, to be put online. So we get calls all the time from people all across the country who ask, could you pull that yearbook from, I had a guy this week, 1972, looking for somebody, or, you know, so we're really involved in that too. You know, we just want to be out there. And like you said, it's important that people still see that libraries are relevant and the kids want to be there, and that it's a necessity. It's certainly not a luxury. I don't believe at all. And I don't think our kids would either. They're great and we're busy all the time.
That's great. I know we've had, speaking of yearbooks, I know we've had other people wanting to do that, and sometimes they run into the copyright issues. So
That
keep that in mind. We've had a lot of people who went down the
point.
path really far, and then it was like, oh, you guess who retains the rights to the yearbook? It was the publisher. So hopefully you guys can come up with a way to get that online and readily available for people. I know they'd like to see it. I still go back to my yearbook. I have to. The memory fades, and you're like, who
Yeah.
was that person?
Yeah. It really is. Well, and in a community like Leavenworth, it's very transient. You know, with the military, with civil service, with the Hallmark, et cetera. People they just want to, you know, remember something, and, you know, we all misplace things. So yeah, we get calls quite a bit or people will find an old yearbook. I had a lady return one last spring from 1913, and then we actually found the home that the yearbook owner lived in, a historic home in Leavenworth, and we were able to go and, you know, view the home, and it was just a great
Yeah.
connection, and we had a lot of fun.
Such a rich history that some of us who don't spend a lot of time in Leavenworth, obviously you have there, and it's great that you guys, find it important to make that part of your role to kind of carry on that information for people.
Yeah, we sure try to, absolutely.
We were getting some shout outs from, I have to assume, from our other pioneers who are on here with us virtually today, who can say, yes, there's a lot of student involvement. Before we jump on to the second half of our time together today, I did have another question in chat, just wondering about that creature, the cellophane statue, and wondering, how does that thing stay together? Does it have some sort of underlying armature to it? Do you know?
I don't. I will tell you that there were 5 of them when the year started. One deflated or was crushed. One is taped outside of my office window. And then there are 2 or 3 others throughout the building. So I will have to follow up with our incredible art teachers and ask them, you know, what held those together. The one in the display case has lasted all year, and the one outside my office, the kids probably aren't touching them. And that's probably what's
Right.
made the
Keeps
difference.
them from deflating.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about some of your various partnerships. Partnerships are important for public libraries, and sometimes I'm like, well, are they important for school libraries too? So
Yes,
tell us, are they
they
important?
they are. They really incredibly are. The Leavenworth Public Library partners with us every fall to provide library application cards for our students. And in a community that, like ours, that doesn't have public transportation and does have a fair amount of students who are, you know, poverty challenged, if you want, the right term is escaping me, but it gives them an opportunity to get a library card when they may not be able to get one any other way. So I've been really, really grateful to the Leavenworth Public Library. We've also taken classes of students down there, and they've gotten some research lessons, and we've got the Kansas History Room there. So they've been just a great resource. The director at the Leavenworth Public Library also has a lot of library experience, and he and I have had lots of conversations about the issues that plague libraries today in terms of, you know, censorship or, you know, upset patrons, et cetera. So Matt's been a blessing to me. The Leavenworth Education Foundation is 21 years old, and like many districts now, they support teacher grants, student, you know, initiatives that teachers want to get accomplished and wouldn't be able to do with their own funds. in terms of the library, they award us every year in conjunction with Leavenworth Kiwanis, a grant which funds the books in the elementary schools. So we absolutely just couldn't do what we do, which simply buying books, for a lot of our elementary libraries without their support. During COVID, that when they weren't able to do the big grant campaign like they normally do, they gave a modernization grant to the libraries so that we could buy digital books, light box books, light box books, a couple of iPads, Apple TV. So they really were magnificent in helping us digitize the library to get as many resources to the kids that were home, during COVID as we could. And we're just always grateful. Lansing Community Library is a great partner with Leavenworth High School, even though, we are two separate communities. I live in Lansing, and so I spend a lot of time in this library too. They're great about getting books. If I need like 6 copies of a book for a book club, Terry and Emily and Alicia are great about getting all the copies that I need. And we are, we say 2 towns, but 1 community, if you will. They support our schools, they support the Lansing schools, and yeah, we couldn't do what we do without them. Absolutely.
That's great to hear how beneficial that can be. And you are there at the Lansing Library, as I think
I,
you were alluding today, in that
yes,
newish kind of meeting room that Terry was very proud of, and you're using it exactly as they envisioned it
yeah,
for
I
doing a
am.
Zoom call.
I wanted to be in my library, but there's some stuff going on at school, kind of construction wise, since we're not there. And I wasn't able to get into the library, but I wanted to be in a library. So yes, this
Yeah.
magnificent community room here in Lansing.
Yeah. And I really liked your point about just having that peer group that's outside of, I mean, obviously you have your pioneer peer group
Right.
in your school, but that you're taking advantage of people like Matt and Terry, who are very knowledgeable and big thinkers. And you never know in these times that we live in when you might need somebody who's non-school, or when alternatively they might need somebody who's a professional with libraries who isn't speaking just from being from within their building. It's and you are helping them as much too, because you are on boards of one of these
Yes.
libraries, right? And a friends
Yes.
group of the other.
Yeah, I'm on the Leavenworth Friends of the Leavenworth Library Board. You have to live in Leavenworth proper to be, on their governing board, if you will. But I
Mhm.
am on the board here in Lansing. And yeah, it's great just to hear information, like you said, both ways. What's going on in schools, what's going on in public libraries. Our funding issues are oftentimes their funding issues,
Right.
right? Same pot of money.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it's just been great to have Terry, to have Matt, Mr. Bird at, KLA. I've
Yep.
emailed about concerns or just questions. So yeah, the library community really is a family community. And I know one of my fellow librarians is on here. So yeah, I've got great librarians in my district, Patty Taylor. Yeah, I've got great support, and I couldn't do it without them for sure.
And you know what? And just again, to thank you for your work of helping out our public libraries. I mean, we have libraries who have a hard time getting people to be on their boards. It's a lot to ask of people, and you're obviously already a busy librarian, but yet you're taking time to be on a friends group and on a board. So we thank you for that. And of course, have to give a shout out that you're working with 2 of our next search catalog libraries. We're all part of a consortium here in Northeast Kansas. So it's nice that you're kind of able to help your students sign up for those cards and be able to pull from our entire
Yes.
Northeast Kansas region from the shared resources.
It cracks me up. My parents are from a small farming community about 35 minutes from here. And there's been so many times that I couldn't get a book in Lansing or Leavenworth. And when it comes through the interlibrary loan, it'll be from the Nortonville Public Library. And I just chuckled at, or Concordia or just wherever. It's
Right.
incredible the distance some of these books will travel to get all over the state.
Absolutely. Yeah, between our consortium and then ILL, I mean, these things are, we can find it for you a lot of the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you mentioned Sean Bird, KLA, and we are for this new revamp of this program partnering with the Kansas Library Association. Um, we're proud of you for having one of our many presidential awards here in Northeast Kansas. Tell us about the award that you received in October of 2023 and just about KLA or other professional organizations and the importance of them.
The award that I won, the Kansas Librarian Association Intellectual Champion Award, I was nominated by the Lansing Library Director here. First of all, I'm incredibly humbled by it and proud, and I know that there are people who are fighting way harder for library rights and student reader rights and reader rights in general. But yeah, it was just a recognition of a person who, unfortunately, I guess, fortunately in some ways, has had some issues in the library with either challenged materials or yeah, things of that nature. And we have had some in my district, but it's something that I believe in. I think none of us would be in the business that we're in if we didn't believe in that. Like I said, Sean Bird is a wealth of knowledge. He's just been an incredible person to get information from. I've attended 2 of his sessions of the last KLA conference, and I just walk away thinking, I wish I could have a day just to sit and learn, you know, it's really incredible. I'm also involved in ALA. I'm a member of the American Librarian Association. And again, another wealth of information and resources for the times that we're in, good and bad. And I've been grateful to be a part of that. I'm a member of the Kansas Association of School Librarians. So that's a great group that, you know, we get emails 3 or 4 times a day all over the state. School librarians have a question or a great idea for a project. And it's great to be able to, you know, touch base with all of those great librarians doing great things all across the state. Member of the Freedom to Read Coalition, you know, anything that you could be a part of to just help advocate for libraries. You know, I want to be involved. I hope I am and will continue to be. On the left is Cynthia Leidich Smith, one of the great Indigenous Native writers. I've also been really incredibly fortunate the past year and a half to be involved with the Kansas Association for Native American Education. And they're doing great things, not just with Native education in terms of what we're learning in our history classes, but making sure that there's representation by Indigenous and Native voices across all platforms, you know, writing, art, music, the Oscars on Sunday, seeing Lily Gladstone. And that has been really probably one of the most rewarding things I've been a part of in the last year. And it's incredibly fun. And Dr. Redcorn is doing amazing things out of K-State with that group. And there are a lot of strong ties back to the library. So if any of the librarians out there are interested, please join up because everybody always needs extra help. So, yeah.
I wasn't familiar with that, and that's great that you would share that with us.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, the author that was at KLA's last
Yes.
conference, wasn't it? I think I had to give the author directions of where she was supposed to, I was on my phone trying to look it up what the schedule was.
Yeah.
So I think she was posted up on the second floor there signing books, right?
Yes. Yes. And the imprint, she has an imprint with one of the major publishing houses, and it's escaped me right now. I can't believe that, but and she's a part of the group. You know, we need diverse books. Fantastic writer, and they have great speakers at the convention every year. I've always had great sessions, and I've loved the speakers they've had the last couple of years. So if you have the chance, if you can get there, definitely go. I recommend. It's a great learning opportunity for anybody. School
I'm
library.
glad you bring that up because it is probably more public library
Yeah,
focused, just as a
sure.
general as far as the breakout sessions, but there is a good amount of school librarians. And so from your perspective, then it sounds like you time and time again find things that are of interest to you and help you out in your work.
100%, especially the last couple of years with, you know, all of the current events plaguing the libraries. Yeah, they've had a couple of sessions geared specifically toward school librarians. So absolutely, I want to go every year, and I encourage any school librarian who can, you know, absolutely.
Sure. And I would throw out, if you're in Northeast Kansas, we do here at NECLS, as we pronounce our acronym, do have money for continuing education. So that can help out school librarians and public librarians to get to conference if you can take that time away and get there. I heard a lot of people say it this last year, just how important kind of post lockdown, post still not wanting to go out and, you know, worried about tight spaces. And it's kind of seemed like 2023, I was getting a lot of people just saying like how great, like their takeaway more than almost anything was just being amongst their people. One of our
Yeah,
other presidential award winners from the Morrow Public Library, I think just said, you know, like just being able to have like that short code, or basically, you know, not having to explain things to people because you're with your folks who get it. When you say, you know, we're facing some challenging times, we don't even have to go into depth on it. I think we all know exactly what you're talking about. Like, we don't want
right.
to bring any bad attention to us, but yeah, it can be rough. And when you have those people, like you mentioned, Sean Bird, any of these people who really give library science and community a lot of thought, like these are the folks that can really help, I think, recharge your batteries and then, you know, get you back into your community and ready to do the work. So
Absolutely. You do come back, you know, like you said, recharged, excited to implement new things. Yeah, it's great. It really is.
well,
Really is.
Sharon, thank you so much for being with us today, our school librarian. I feel like you're going to open the floodgates of other school librarians who are interested. And whether you're school, academic, public, we've had the state librarian before. If you're a friends group person, I'd ask you to reach out to me. We love to feature all the great work, and just it's one library at a time as we hop
Absolutely.
across the state of Kansas. So be like Sharon. Don't be afraid to share a little bit about your job. Again, we really appreciate you being here. We'll get
Thank
this
you.
recording out. Thanks if you tuned
Yeah.
in here over Zoom, or if you're watching on YouTube and you made it this far through the video, which nobody ever does. But thanks,
Thank
guys,
you
so
guys.
much. Happy
Take care.
spring break to
Happy
you.
spring break. Beware
Yeah.
the Ides of March on Friday, right?
Oh,
Librarians
that's right.
and English teachers unite. Yeah. Take care.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks
Thanks.
so much.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.